Hello and welcome to Teach Me School Stuff. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a photo slideshow using Adobe Spark. We're going to put the photo slideshow to music. So a very simple introductory tutorial on how to use Adobe Spark for this project. So first of all, I've gotten into Adobe Spark using my educator email address. So for educators and for students, you can use Adobe Spark for free. And once I get in here, logging in using my school email address, I can choose a variety of different projects here, but very simply, I'm going to pick Slideshow. Now, I'm not going to bother with this stuff yet. Let's skip over this, and I'm going to start from scratch because I want to have some control over what this slideshow looks like. I could choose one of these sort of template options, but they come with preset settings that I may not necessarily want in my finished product. So I'm going to start from scratch. I have to wait for it to load here for a second. And so this is basically what Adobe Spark Video looks like when you first get to it. And now I actually have a project that I'm sort of getting started on. So let's click over to that over here. It looks pretty much the same. And the first thing I need to do is decide what kind of a theme I want for my slides as they play. And if I go to theme in this drop down here, there's a variety of different themes. And what will happen here with these themes is they're going to use a preset type of font and transitions, and even the transition for the font itself, the way the font appears on the screen and then the way it goes away. All of that stuff is sort of preloaded into these themes. So for an absolute beginner, if you want a really simple, slick looking video slideshow presentation, this is a great tool to use for that. However, sometimes those preset themes get in the way. I'll give you an example. Let's scroll through here and take a look at Noir, and I want you to see what happens when I scroll over it. If you'll notice, the picture of the mountain in the background does a slow zoom in. That is called a Ken Burns effect. And if I really want the integrity of my photos to be maintained in my photo slideshow, so if this is for the purpose of showing students photographic composition, or if this is for students to present a work in which they're showing a composition that truly matters, you don't want that Ken Burns effect because, of course, as soon as the photo starts playing, it slowly zooms in. Even that one does it a little bit. And therefore, you could almost say it destroys the original composition. The one theme that definitely doesn't do that is the top one, which is called Title. So if you notice when I scroll over that, the mountains stay just fine and it doesn't mess anything up. It also shows me what the font is going to look like when I start spelling things out on the screen. So let's go to this first box here. I'm going to put a title in and, my slideshow. Okay, that's good enough. Don't need to hit enter. And when I click off of here, it's now got my title in there. If I notice down in the bottom right corner of this workspace, it says 04. So this slide is going to play for 4 seconds. Depending on the kind of project that you're doing, you might want your title slides to play a little bit longer or maybe shorter. It's really sort of up to you. Now, I have a different video tutorial in which you record narration. In that case, the length of the slide is determined by how long your narration lasts. But here, I don't have narration. The slide is going to be determined by whatever I set this at. If I click on this, a slider comes up and I can choose how long I want the slide to play. For a project I do with my students, I ask all the slides to be set at 5 seconds. That's long enough for us to get the idea of the composition, but not so long that we, kind of want to move on to the next thing. So here's my title slide. I'm ready to make the next slide. I click on this plus sign. And here's my next slide, and I can upload a photo. Depending on what sort of presentation I'm doing, let's say I already have my photos done and I want to upload them here, then I could click on the button over here that says upload, and I'd be uploading them from the hard drive of my computer. However, Adobe Spark also talks to other cloud-based platforms such as Creative Cloud, Lightroom, Connect to Dropbox, Google Photos, and Google Drive. So if I click on Google Drive, here's some photos that I took in Japan. So if I click on that one there, I could add that one easily into my presentation. Now, There's one other thing that you'd probably really want to do once you bring these photos in is make sure that they haven't been cropped to fit the dimensions of this rectangle. And often they will be. So what I need to do is click on this pencil over here to edit, and I can zoom out and I can just sort of see how much of the image was cropped. So certainly the top and bottom were being cropped in this image. I guess my image is more of a 4:3, and the frame of the slide is a bit wider than that. So if I like what I have, then I can just click off of this, and I want to set this at 5 seconds. Okay. Now this slide is basically done. Now if I want all my slides to be like this with the same settings, maybe I put text over top or whatever, but in this case I just want my slideshow to keep playing with one slide or the other, then I'm hoping when I click on this and choose duplicate that the next slide comes with the same settings. So this slide plays for 5 seconds and so does this one. So now what I need to do is just replace this photo with my next one. So I choose photo. And now I'm going to go instead, let's say, okay, so I demonstrated how to use photos that are on my own Google Drive for the purpose of a personal photo presentation. But let's say I'm doing something more in the way of a research presentation. I want to demonstrate something to somebody. I want to use images from the internet. Let's say I'm introducing the idea of elements and principles of design in a photography assignment. So I want to talk about balance or light. So I could go to Find Free Photos, and this will actually supply me with a whole bunch of free, royalty-free images that I can put into my project. I don't have to worry about crediting the original photographers or whatever. These are provided through Pixabay and Adobe Spark as royalty-free images. So I could choose this if, let's say, I'm talking about symmetrical balance. So this image is zoomed in quite a bit because it's a vertical photo. But we can zoom out here, and let's say this slide could be all about symmetrical balance. What might be even better for the layout of this slide is perhaps it should be like a split screen. So I could put this image here now, edit it, and zoom it out, have it fill out that entire side, and then talk about symmetrical balance over here. Or I could swap them out and put it probably makes more sense to do this layout, have the image over here and have my definition of symmetrical balance, or perhaps I'm talking about light. Let's add one more slide just to get the idea. So I'm going to use another photo. In this case, I'm going to go back to my Google Drive and take another picture from my trip to Japan. I want a more landscapey kind of picture, so let's take that one. And I throw that in here. And there's basically my slide presentation ready to go. So once I know how to put in one or two photos, I know how to do the rest of it. And I didn't copy this one from the previous or duplicate the previous slide. So in this case, I have to remember to change my setting to 5 seconds. Now, my whole slideshow is done, let's say, and I've added closing credits by putting another slide in, or Adobe Spark actually comes with a thing here that you can use for your own closing credits. And in fact, I believe it'll even populate in here things that have citations. It automatically puts some of that in there, but I'm not going to use that for now. I would put in my own closing credit, and then my slideshow's done. So now I'm ready to put it to music. So here I go and I click on music, and there's a variety of different musical selections that they provide here. So if I just click on one of these, let's hear what it sounds like. So maybe that works for me. I could take any of these preset songs. Again, these are royalty free, so I don't have to worry about citing the original source. Or I could go to Add My Music, and I could find a piece of music of my own, wherever it happens to be. I don't know, I could even get one from my Google Drive or something like that, and add my own piece of music in here. So once my piece of music is in here, let's just say I'm going to use, let's hear this one. It's a little goofy. Medieval times would be a little weird, and Paris would be a little odd, but I don't know. I'll try Distant Telegram. Sure, that's good enough. So I would add, I have that music now in here. It's checked. I think it was Distant Telegram. So once that's there, and I go to preview my slideshow, it's going to play that music along with my slideshow. So that's basically how you add music to your slideshow in Adobe Spark. And that's pretty much all there is to know about how to do this. Now, if you want to edit the music, if you need to add narration over top of this and then change the music volume up or down, you're out of luck. Adobe Spark, once the music is in there, it's set at whatever volume you set it at here for the entire slideshow. So Adobe Spark is great for creating a narrated slideshow if you need the music in the background the whole way. It's great for creating a photo slideshow where you want the music to be part of the experience of the photo slideshow. Not so great if you need to kind of go back and forth between I'm narrating for a while, then I let the slides play for a while, and then I'm narrating again. Unless you're okay with it being slightly awkward that when you're not speaking, the music's really quiet. So it's a bit limited in that regard, but otherwise it's an excellent tool for creating great looking slideshows. So I hope this really helps you out, and all the best of luck with your own slideshows. Bye-bye.